Okay, it's time to get started. Let's get rolling. David Siler here. I have been an HR professional. I don't know. Do I have a slide? Yep, down there at the bottom. These are the two instructors. Brittany, my daughter, has been teaching for about 10 years now, something like that. I've been in HR forever, longer than most of you have been alive. So that's where I'm aging myself. So I'm engaging in ageism here, but I'm doing it self-inflicted. And we've been around, and I have been helping HR professionals get certified for over 30 years, coming up on 35 years to be exact. And I've been continuously certified for, yeah, 45 years or something like that. I was one of the first to get certified way back when nobody even knew what certification was. Now it's important. It is something that you are obviously interested in. I mean, you're not just killing time by watching this little infomercial today, but I'm going to try in today's session to answer whatever questions you have. I am going to sell a little bit of fear to you that the only way you can join my club, the certification club, Brittany's club, the certification club in HR, both from HRCI, the Human Resource Certification Institute, and the Society of Human Resource Managers, SHRM. The only way you can join our club is passing the entrance requirement. And the entrance requirement is a test. And they're all mean, they're all nasty, they're all extremely challenging. Some of you are maybe mildly interested and you're looking at this and you've heard all the criticisms and what an infamous reputation the exam has for being difficult. And it is. I mean, about half the people that take these exams fail these exams. But we do a much better job than that. And so today I'm going to talk to you like you're just going to be preparing on your own to try to pass those certification exams and to become certified. But I'm also going to try to sell you on the concept that one of my biggest points that I have learned the hard way over the decades of working with thousands upon thousands of HR professionals is that taking an instructor-led program is a shortcut. It gives you a much greater probability of getting certified and not getting disappointed. And with exams that routinely have pass rates in the 50% range, you want every advantage you can get. And whether it's our program with our instructors or some other program, maybe that's in your area, some college, university, whatever your local HR chapter is offering a cert prep program, an instructor who has been there can save you time, effort, and energy. And even more importantly, money. Well, time is very important to many of you also because you're juggling two things. You've got a job, you got a career, maybe a whole bunch of things. You got family, you got romance in your life, whatever you've got going on in your life. And yet you're going to squeeze in the preparation for these nasty exams with these horrible, horrendous pass rates and horrible, horrendous fail rates. So having an instructor that can guide you through the process, tell you what to study and what not to study is very important because these exams are not like any exam you have ever taken before. These are professional body of knowledge exams. They're not like high school, college, graduate school. I don't care how much or how little education you have. We work with all types, all kinds. I don't even care how much exposure and experience you have. Our job is to prepare you to sit for and pass those exams on the first try. And what often happens, tragically, is I see people trying again and again and again, and they can't get that monkey off their back, and it just keeps dragging out, often for years, and they're spending money, they're bleeding money continuously instead of doing it right the first time. And getting an instructor, whether it's us or someone else out there, there's many good organizations and many good, I'm not going to say a lot of good preparation products. There's all kinds of products out there. Some are really good, and some, trying to do this on the cheap is going to be one of my points that doesn't work out real well for folks. So the best thing to do is just brace yourself, spend a little money, get a quality prep program, pass this thing. I mean, spend 3 months, 4 months working hard, preparing, get it done, get certified, and move on with your career. Not 12, 18, 24 months of false starts, trying, failing, spending money on those exams. And those exams are not cheap. You're talking $500 plus for the exams, depending on which one you're going for. And you don't want to keep taking these over and over again. So anyway, we want to do it right the first time. All right, so this is kind of what we're going to do. I'm going to talk you through the process, talk you through what I think you need to know to be able to prepare yourself properly for the exams in a general sense. But this is your session. I've got some prepared materials for you, and we've got an hour is all we've got. So we don't have all day to talk about this. But you can ask any questions you want to. Lynn Salazar, SPHR SHRM-SCP, is sitting online with us, and she is going to answer any questions. You just type your question in. We've got too many people to be able to unmute everyone, but you can type your questions in, and either she'll answer it for you directly or personally and individually, or she'll kick it to me and I'll answer it for everybody to hear if it's a general question that everybody needs to hear the answer to. So we're here to provide information, and whatever questions you have, we can answer. We know these exams backwards and forwards. I have all the certification exams, and in the 40 some years that I have been certified, I have continuously recertified. These certifications are good for 3 years. Then you have to recertify. And the way most people recertify is by turning in points, by like taking continuing education. You get a point for every hour of training classes you take in the field of HR, and a number of other ways of getting hours. I and my staff, we don't do it that way. I personally have never recertified by turning points in. I retake the exams. And I've, over the years, over the decades, have taken, and I've been continuously certified with everything, all the certifications from HRCI and SHRM, and even the other organizations we're not talking about today. I got a wall full. I mean, I got an ego wall, that is covered in certifications. And I've done it by continuing to retake the exams because I am the author, the creator of the Distinctive HR Cert Prep Learning Program. In fact, as I said, we've got classes coming up. I am the only that I know of author and creator of a major cert prep program in the United States, really around the world, that still teaches. I've just outlasted all my competition. I'm older. I mean, they've all retired. The other creators of prep programs, and I don't think any of the others that are still out there still teach like I do. So you have the unique opportunity to have the guy that wrote the book. I mean, this is our certification guide, and yep, that's my picture on the back. So, and all the materials, frankly, is my picture on everything. So if you are in the market for an instructor-led program, which is going to be one of my strongest recommendations for today. All right, so you can see the pass rates. You read through all of that up there, but you probably read down there at the bottom that we do, well, it's not up here on this page yet, but it's going to come up in a slide or two. But all you have to do to get certified is to pass the test. And all you got to score is a 70. And you're sitting there going, I'm done. I don't need to listen to this guy talk anymore. I can make a 70 in my sleep on any test you give me. hold on there, partner. I mean, that's big talk. I personally don't know anyone that can walk in straight off the street and pass those exams without preparing. These exams will test you on everything. Maybe you've had that kind of exposure in your career as a HR generalist, but many of you are specialists. Many of you have been siloed in regards to only certain parts of HR that you've been exposed to. But you're going to be asked on the exam, you're going to be asked about labor unions. You're going to be asked about executive compensation plans, how to create, how to design one, how to administrate one. You're going to be asked about all kinds of legal questions like how many employees does an employer have to comply with Title VII Civil Rights Act of 1964? If you know that answer, then hats off to you. You are truly a brainiac, and you might be one of those people, those few rare people that can walk in off the street and take an exam without preparing, or buy some real cheap prep program that is good for an APHR certification, but not so good for a PHR, SPHR, SHRM-CP, or SHRM-SCP certification. And those are the big four that we're talking about today. But I'll talk about GPHR. I'll talk about PHRI, SPHRI. I've got all those certifications, and they're current and up to date. And again, by retaking the exams, and the reason I keep retaking the exams is because I need to be able to create materials that will help you get certified. So I need to be on top of the current nomenclature and the pace and the type of topics that they talk about. And we are. And therefore, give you a shortcut in regards to what type of materials and topics you need to prepare for and what type of things that could be on the exam but are an extremely low probability of being on the exam. We try to cover the highlights of the high probability stuff because, again, all we got to do is make a 70. And we've got a fairly successful process because we have with our instructor-led programs, we're over 90% pass rate historically and sometimes we even have classes, the whole class passes, everybody passes. I wish it happened more often. I wish I had 100% guarantee that I could give you that you are going to pass the exam. But I don't know how many distractions are in your life. I don't know how hard you're willing to work at this. I don't know what kind of background and experiences and exposure and education you might be bringing to the table. So we got all types in here. I've got everybody from HR clerks to CEOs or HR CHROs, chief HR officers, for major corporations. So, and everybody's got an equal shot at passing. That's what we're trying to do, is to give you an equal shot at passing. So a little bit of marketing today, but a whole lot of what steps do I think you need to take? Well, step number one that I've already said is take an instructor-led program if possible. I get it sometimes. I mean, our program's not free, but I haven't raised. At the very end of the program, the presentation today, I'm going to show you what the prices are and what kind of class options we've got for you that are coming up in the next few weeks. But I haven't raised my prices in years. I don't remember how many years it's been since we raised our prices. Hadn't raised them this decade. And it's 2026. So I don't know. I'm about to end 2026, going to 2027. All right, get prep materials that match your learning style. You may not even be aware of your learning style. One of the things that we have done very successfully and really stumbled upon through trial and error is that we have found that many HR professionals are very audio focused. They want to talk about things. This is what we do for a living. We're not visually focused where you can read a book, and that's what everybody thinks. They think, hey, all I've got to do is memorize this study manual, and this is the current study manual. And by the way, my study manual, much smaller than some of my competitors. Some of my competitors' study manual is 3 times as thick. I mean, over 1,000 pages, 1,200 pages plus. Mine's 400 pages. And we still get the job done really well because a lot of HR people, and I wrote this, it's a textbook and I wrote it and I'm very proud of it, but it's still a cure for insomnia. But we've even got this on an audio book in our materials. But we also have audio tracks. We also have a lot of videos. We have all types of learning tools and instruments that are at your pleasure to use. And do you have to use them all? No. People often ask me, do I need to buy additional materials, which some of the other programs, you have to buy other materials to go. And I'm like, no, you don't have to buy anything extra with ours. You're not going to get through all my materials anyway, because there's too much of it there. I mean, there's 40 years of putting this program together through trial and error, through successes and failures over time. But again, with all the time that we have put into it, we've got it narrowed down to a very productive, very effective, very efficient process that will help get you certified. But you need materials that match your learning style, and not everybody, and a lot of programs, that's all it is a book. You got this huge 1,200 page book. And I know that's the way you probably did it in high school and college, if you did college, but it's not for everyone. We've got videos, we've got cartoons, we've got skits, we've got all kinds of learning tools that we have developed over the years. And so we've got something that will match your learning style, and you'll figure out what it is. Most of you are auditory learners, and I'm saying that through years of experience and exposure with HR professionals. Number 3 is practice your test taking skills. The best learning tool that we have for you is we have over 2,000 practice questions that replicate the level of challenge and difficulty of the actual exams. In fact, we even have final exams, which we're going to show you all the plethora of offerings that we have here towards the end of the presentation today. But test taking or testing or tests, practice exams are what I call the great teacher. And the great teachers are going to do 2 things. There's 2 things you got to do to get certified. Number 1, you got to be a good test taker. Number 2, you got to master the body of knowledge. So you still have to work at studying and all that. But when's the last time you took a large national, international standardized exam? And for some of you, it might have been years, decades even. And for some of you, maybe just recently. But regardless, we got your back, whatever kind of degree of exposure and experience you have. We're going to practice test taking. And that to me is either number 1 or number 2 of the best preparation tools that any program can offer are the quality of their test questions. And I'm going to tell you that pretty much I wrote them all. And we're relying on my experience with all these exams, probably 100 exams that I have taken over the years. In fact, 2 years ago, I took 6 HRCI certification exams in 3 days, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. On Monday, another one morning, another one in the afternoon on Tuesday, another one in the morning, another in the afternoon on Wednesday. My brain was cooked. My brain was fried. I didn't know my own name by the end of the whole thing. But that was something that my staff cooked up, and they thought it would make a good video that I then talk about the experiences and all that. So even that's out there for you to look at. So anyway, practicing your test taking skills. By the way, I did really well, as you would expect. The guy who has written all these the prep materials and worked with the exams and used to be in North Carolina before and this is where, if you don't recognize the accent, North Carolina is where I'm located. And I used to be what was known as the item writing workshop leader here in North Carolina. For that, one of the ways you can recertify is by turning in sample questions. That's where these questions on your exam will come from certified HR professionals who can turn in, I think, like three practice questions, and they get 3 credits for that towards the 60 that they need every 3 years to recertify. And I would lead HR professionals through that process. So kind of like a professional test writer. So those test taking skills, very critically important. So whatever program you go with, whichever approach you take, practice test taking, and practice test taking till you are very, very routinely, consistently scoring above 70%. Now you're probably thinking, well, that's not going to be any problem. Because again, I was brainiac in high school and college. All you had to do was memorize the book and you passed the exam. No, 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 no. Not the way these exams work. You can memorize the book. You could take the book in with you on exam day and you could score 50. That's about it. About half the exam is objective, factual information that comes out of the materials. Then the other half of the exam is going to be decision making, strategery. It's about using critical thinking skills. It's about applying discretion and judgment in these touchy situations that they will describe for you. You catch the brother-in-law of the owner embezzling funds. What do you do about it? Do you fire the brother-in-law? Do you approach this owner of the company, the CEO of the company, and rat out the brother-in-law? Do you go directly to the brother-in-law and confront them about their nefarious deeds? What do you do? And we've got even a little book. I don't have a copy of one right now in front of me, but we've got a little 68-page booklet that is called The Seven Princes. And some of you guys are even here today because you've heard about the Seven Princes. And the only way you can get a copy of the Seven Princes, unless you get somebody who's gone through the program and give you theirs, the only way you can get a copy of Seven Princes is to take our class. And it is all about the vague, general, subjective issues that come up on the exam, and there are systems to follow. And this is the only place anywhere out there in preparation land for HR professionals to go to get this booklet that will help guide you through those miserably mean, challenging questions about what should you do in a situation. And the Seven Princes are 7 principles of human resource management that I've identified, and I broke the code because I've taken so many exams that I finally figured out, hey, there's a system here. And I keep seeing these 7 things showing up over and over and over again. And so I wrote a book about it. And that comes along with the materials too. All right. And that's what we're talking about with number 4, about developing critical thinking skills. The subjectivity of these exams will destroy your brain. I mean, and I even read these questions. And again, I've been in HR also. I've not always been a cert prep provider. I have been for the last 30 years, but the first 20 years really, yeah, because some of that was their overlap. But for the last, yeah, for the first 20 years of my career, I was a corporate HR guy, and making decisions and looking at situation scenarios and applying critical thinking to them, troubleshooting it, figuring out what do we do? What's the best choice to make? So on these exams, I will read some of the questions sometimes, and I'll look, and then you've got to choose from the 4 answer options, because the vast majority of all of these tests, the vast majority of the questions are going to be multiple choice with 4 answer options. And none of them are going to be none of the above or all of the above or B, A and B or B and C. They don't play games like that. You got to know what the answer is. But I will read the question stem, often 2 or 3 times until I fully understand what they're asking. And then I'll go down and look at the 4 answer options. And as a former vice president of HR for a Fortune 60 corporation here in America, I mean, I'm looking at the scenarios and I'm going, I wouldn't do any of these. But I got to choose the best from the 4. And then sometimes there's a question and I've still got to choose, and they give me a scenario and a situation, and I got to choose the best of the 4. And I look at them and go, wow, all 4 are really good. All 4 are sexy options that I might choose personally, but I still have to choose the best of the 4. And there, my friends, my brothers and sisters in HR, there's the trouble with these exams. That's where you're trying to figure out which one of these. Now, it's often easy to rule out one. Then it's not that difficult to rule out another. But what you're going to find on these exams, you're going to narrow it down to 2 on a whole lot of questions. I mean, 40% of the questions, you're going to get it down to 2. And then you got to figure out which one of those 2 do you like better, those 2 answer options that they give you. So controlling test anxiety is another issue. We've had all, I mean, if you are a test anxious individual, you come to the right place. I am by education, advanced degrees and all in psychology. And I wind up being a psychologist with many of my candidates who are just freaked out by the whole process. You may be sitting there with butterflies in your stomach right now, even thinking about it. But what I'm going to tell you is, come on, jump in. The water's fine. There is nothing to lose. I mean, nothing to gain if you don't try, but there are good things to gain if you do try. And the worst that you can do is not pass. But you know what? You can retake these exams over and over and over again as many times as you want to. That's not our goal. Our goal is to pass the exams on one try and then to move on with your career. And what you will find with these certifications, and they're no joke, they are the wind at your back kind of phenomena in regards to moving your career onwards and upwards. All kinds of studies that I could quote right now. I've got presentations that I have done at conferences and things like that on the value of holding one of these certifications and what it can do for you in your career. And so having these letters next to your name is, I cannot impress upon you enough how really critical and valuable it is to you and your career. But what I'm going to tell you is the letters aren't the value. The letters are in the preparation process where you are exposed to elements of HR that you have never worked in before. You are going to grow and develop. No one comes out of these programs unscathed. No one comes out of these programs without, I mean, and I've done this, like I said, I've done this for 30 years and I've worked in all kinds of organizations and well over 10,000 people that we have successfully helped get certified. And I've never had a single complaint, not one, because they all come back and pretty much say, whether I get certified or not, I have learned so much. I am already being recognized. I mean, by like week 2 or 3, people are coming back into class saying, I'm already using this stuff. And their bosses are recognizing their new skills, their new abilities, their new self-confidence, their new self-esteem, their ability to problem solve and apply logical solutions to often very impossible, very difficult, very challenging situations. It's what I love about HR is that it's not routine. I mean, new issues come up every day. And if you don't like that, then at least having a system that you can use, like the 7 Princes that we get a lot of feedback about, will help you in making those decisions going forward. All right, so those steps, here's some pro tips for you, some advice of what I would do is, first of all, choose the right test. Which certification are you going after? Now, the good news is if you come and take one of our programs or most instructor-led programs, they will help you decide. Now, if you have not yet signed up for an exam, then you probably don't need to. Even though I'm going to tell you before the program is over today, there's a special code. HRCI is running a special right now that's only good this week. Oh, it's good from a week from today. So it's good till the 31st of August to save $100 off of whichever test you're going for. But what I would tell you, if you're going to take our program and you're thinking about it, don't sign up for an exam. Wait as you're going through our class. We will help you to determine which certification. I get all kinds of people that are coming to the program thinking, well, I'm going to go and get my PHR certification, Professional and Human Resource Certification from HRCI. And halfway through the program, they're going, you know what? I think I'm going to go for my SPHR. Now, and I'm of the opinion that whatever certification you're eligible for, let's go for that one. Worst that can happen is we fail. And I've had people that failed their SPHR exam in the morning and then signed up that day for the PHR exam, and later that afternoon took their PHR exam and passed it, because it's still a very ugly, mean test, very difficult, very PHR exam. But relative to the SPHR, the Senior Professional in Human Resources, just like the CP is much easier, much more direct than the SCP, the Senior Certified Professional. So you can get a certification and walk away no matter what. But if you're struggling over which certification that you have are going to take, then my recommendation is we're going to go for the one that you're eligible for. But some of you are like, but I've been in HR 10 years, but I've been a payroll clerk the whole time. And that's all. Never hired anybody, never fired anybody, never had to train anybody, never had to provide safety in the workplace, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All those issues that could be and will be covered on the exam. And understand, if you're like a PHR-CP candidate, you are, and they're kind of on the same level. PHR and CP, there's over 1,500 potential topics that could show up on your exam. Over 1,500. And there's a whole lot of scenarios and situations that could show up on your exam that are very unique, one-off type things. If you're a SCP or a SPHR candidate, then we're talking well over 2,000, 2,300 or so. And all kinds of really one-off type situations and scenarios, again, some of which I read. I mean, there was one on an exam. By the way, I'm not giving you guys questions because I could lose my certification. You can't steal questions off the exams. But I'm going to tell you, there was a scenario where, and it was laughable to me, because, and it starts off, they have this little story, and you're then supposed to answer questions about the story, about what should the HR manager do. And it starts off with the operations manager walking into the HR manager's office, essentially with their hat in their hand, upset, sad, depressed, because they don't know what to do with the bad morale and the amount of employee turnover and the lack of production and poor quality of workmanship. And they come in essentially begging the HR manager for advice and counsel and wisdom. And I'm sitting there going, that's not like any operations manager I have ever worked with. No right-thinking, pompous, arrogant operations manager that I've ever worked with would ever come and ask me my opinion about anything. Now, I've normally had to go bully my way into their office and point out some of the issues and problems, and then point out, what I'd advise them to do. But the whole thing, I was just sort of laughing out loud in the exam, and was like, that's never going to happen. Anyway, choose the right test. You need to know which certification you're going to go after, and we can help you with that. Have a study plan. Again, we provide a study plan. Taking an instructor-led program, what we do is at the end of each class, we give the homework assignments before the next class. And here's the problem. You don't just show up for the class and think you're going to pass the exams. There's homework, there's hard work involved, there's sacrifice with your family, your friends, your personal time, even your job. Hopefully, if you've got a very uh, very professional leadership in your organization in HR that will give you the time to study on during working hours or whatever, then even better. But not every organization does. And a lot of you guys are probably what's called an OHRO, the only HR officer. And you're looking to pick up more skills ability. And hey, this preparation class is great at exposing you to every element, every facet of the HR field. But if you take an instructor-led program, we'll dole out your study plan. If you're doing this on your own, and if you've bought our materials, then we have a study plan. A lot of other programs have a study plan, but studying the right subjects is important. Spending a lot of time on low volume or low value topics is not going to help. Trying to memorize your way to a pass is a fool's errand. It's folly. It's wasteful on your time. In fact, what we call them around here are weed eaters. They want to get down way in the weeds because that's the way your tests were in college and in high school. But not on these exams. They want to see whether you understand the concepts or not, and you can apply them. You can solve the problems, because that, at the end of the day, is what we are. We are problem solvers, and this test is one of the biggest problems have to work through. And part of your study plan is not wait until 2 weeks before the exam to start preparing. This is one of these where to the tortoise goes the race. Long, slow building up of content, of topic mastery, of a lot of areas in HR that you probably have never worked in. Maybe you've been lucky enough to work with the whole range and breadth of spectrum of the HR field, but most people have not. And even some of us that are listening in today's session are specialists. I mean, I had a class several years ago where everybody in the class, it was one company that called me in to work with their HR department, but it was one very unique part of the HR department. They all worked with retirement plans, and that was it. They only knew retirement. Most of them had never hired an employee, never fired an employee, employee relations, no training, no payroll, nothing except retirement plans. And I was like, there might be 1 or 2 questions on retirement plans on your exam, but that's about it. And so 100 plus other questions are going to come from other areas. So cramming doesn't work. You need a good 8 weeks plus, couple of months of preparation, of slogging it out every day, spending about an hour a day. If that's one of your concerns, is how intrusive is this preparation process going to be on my personal life? What we ask for is an hour a day, 7 days a week, for at least 2 months. If you can do that, and you think about that, 30 days, 31 days, you're talking that's 60 hours plus, and then the rest of the time, 30 hours or so, is in the classroom. We got a fighting shot at getting certified on the first try. So 6 to 12 weeks of a preparation process is what it takes, not 2 weeks, not 1 week. And as I said, somewhere, it depends on how much background you have, whether 100 hours will work, and for many of you it will, or whether 200 hours. And again, it depends. Like all my retirement specialists, they didn't know anything. I mean, I'd ask a question about, something simple, behavioral interviewing, and it would be crickets in the room. And I'm looking around going, yeah, they don't know anything. And we still did a really good job, a bang up job of getting a lot of them certified. And a lot of them then chose to leave the specialty of retirement plans and become HR generalists. And maybe that's what your reason for considering getting certified in the first place is. A lot of people are looking for it as a career advancement, whether it's with your current company or with opening up the opportunities in the field, which it does, because over half the jobs that are advertised for HR either require or prefer certification, some kind of certification. And only 15% or so, less than 20% of the field is actually certified. So that less than 20% dominate the hiring market. So it's a way, again, for fame and fortune. If you want to move up in your current company or you want to move to a better job in another company, then certification, again, will aid you considerably. And then number three, don't go cheap. I see that all the time. People go buy these cheap little prep programs that will help you get certified. And I read them and I'm like, they're so fact-based, objective, as I said earlier, that will help you score a 50 or so on the actual exam, but you got to make 70. Now, let me also, and I'm going to insult you right now, and I'm not doing this intentionally, and this is not mean-spirited at all. I'm trying to give you the real deal. If I gave you a sample exam, like a PHR sample exam right now, 50 questions. I used to do it in the first day of all my classes back pre-COVID when we did all the classes live. Um, the average score for 10 years of me giving that sample 50 question exam, the average score was 42. I averaged them all up. 40 in the low 40s. That's about where some of us would be lower, some of us would be higher, but about in the low 40s is where most of us are going to be. And I'm not insulting you. So buying less than quality prep programs is probably going to be a false start. Very likely could result in you wasting a lot of time, effort, and energy. What we want you to do is to work hard for that 6 to 12 week period, get certified, and move on with your career. Not kind of work at it, lazily approach, inconsistently approach preparations, not doing everything the instructor says, but doing some of it and then failing. And then you start all over. And now we're talking another 3 or 4 months of preparation before you get another shot. And that's with HRCI. HRCI, their exams are year round. You can take the exam every 100 days if you want to. SHRM, twice a year. They have a test window. In fact, we'll be preparing people, upcoming program, and it's coming up, but we'll talk about that in a minute. We prepare people getting ready for the December time frame, for the December testing window. You can take like the SHRM-CP exam one time in the month of December, January, or the first 2 weeks of February. That's all. It's a 10-week program, 10-week open window. And if you take the SHRM-CP and you fail it, you got to wait 6 more months. You got to wait till May before you can try it again. So going cheap and buying anything less than quality, you're going to probably get less than quality results. That's my concern. Still, additional pro tips. This is not a high school or college test, as I think I've told you already. This is something you have never seen before. And almost everybody comes back and says, and they're like shocked and surprised, even though I say this all through my programs anyway. Did you know this exam doesn't come out of the book? Well, yeah, kind of do know that. But thanks for pointing that out to me. And again, memorizing your way to the pass. As I said, I wish they would allow the books to be taken in and use an open book test. And it will help you with some of the questions, what I call the objective fact-based type questions on the exam. By the way, that question earlier that I gave you the example of and said, how many employees does an employer have to have before they have to comply with Title VII Civil Rights Act of 1964? And the answer is a lot of us don't know that, but if you got to have at least 15 employees before you're required to not discriminate based on race, religion, sex, natural origin, and color. Those are the 5 areas that Title VII protects. But if you've got 14 employees, can you discriminate legally? Well, yeah. It's immoral. It's unethical. You're a scumbag. I don't want to work for you, but it's not illegal. If you've got 14 or fewer employees, you don't have to comply with Title VII Civil Rights Act of 1964 or all of the discrimination laws. American Disabilities Act, Pregnancy Discrimination Act, Genetic Information Non-Disclosure Act. I'm probably forgetting some, but still, there you go. If you're small enough, you're exempted from. Now, employees can be mad at you. They can claim, they can publicly embarrass you about how you are not, you're discriminated against their rights and all that. But you're not going to be subject to lawsuits about that because you're too small in that case. All right, forget the minutia, seek understanding application, mentioned that earlier. Can't memorize your way to a pass. And so anyway, so why do we want you to take our class? And by the way, I'm going to wind it up here in a minute. And I got a dog over here who's about to bark. My big old golden retriever over here. I'm doing the program today from the house instead of at the office. So why take our class? Why would you want to consider coming in with us and letting us guide you through this process? And we will guide you. I mean, used to be I was all about nurturing and suggesting and being soft with my candidates, treating them like professionals. I gave that up years ago. Now I go in and tell them, this is the way, this will work. That way probably won't work. But if you want the best results, this is what you need to do. So we kind of are a little bit dictatorial, but it's still up to you. We're not going to check behind you. We don't give any tests where we score it. Everything's online for you to monitor yourself. We're not, again, the days of doing live programs since COVID are over. These are all digital virtual programs now. So why is our program different than others? 90% pass rate plus. Not everybody can claim that. In fact, we were the first that would advertise that you got a better than 90% probability if you take our class and you do what we ask, then you should pass on the first try, or you should have a really good chance. Second issue of how we differentiate between our program and other programs is we have the 7 principles. Those 7 principles of human resource management that I've identified show up regularly on the exam, all over the exam. We cannot have in fact, we do something called office hours, which I'm going to mention here in a minute, which is a study session that we do every Wednesday that anyone's invited to that's taken our programs. And it's me, I lead it. And we get people on that have just taken we just had somebody on last week. And the first question, one of the first things they talked about were how the 7 principles were a difference maker. And I've had people that have tried other prep programs, other methodologies, other techniques. And as soon as they read the 7 principles, they come back and say, I get it now. I missed that whole side of the strategic side, the critical thinking side of these exams. And the principles are your best friend. Just other than I think the primary learning tools, preparation tools that our program offers, because nobody else has 7 principles, is number 1 going to be all the practice questions. Number 2 is going to be your 7 principles. And by the way, if you think the book is your top preparation, it's about number 5 on our list of learning tools that we've got for you. Audio files and an audio book. The audio files people rave about. Same person in our program last week said they really never read the book. They just listened to the audio files while they were commuting to and from work, that they had a lot of windshield time. And that works. That's using your time wisely and not just passively sitting in the car, not playing music or listen to talk shows, but listen to me talk to you about HR, or even read the book to you. And it's not me reading the book. It's our man Cade that does that. 2,000 plus practice questions. I'm a believer the best way to get ready for one big, evil, mean, nasty exam is to take a bunch of little, mean, evil, nasty exams. And a whole bunch of them. I mean, so we've got 25 question blocks. We've got hundreds of them out there for you, or several hundred out there for you. Not several hundred, but anyway, we got a lot of them out there for you to practice with, and they're tough. And again, we even have a final practice exam on the PHR, another different one that is our best guess of the level, the type of topics and subject matter that's going to be on the SPHR, the SHRM-CP, and the SHRM-SCP. All of those are there for you, no matter which certification you're going after. In fact, I normally recommend my candidates taking all of them. It's the same number of questions, same weighted the same way that the actual exam is, same type of subject matter, and it's just good practice. But again, only person is going to see the results is you. Unless you ask us to, we can go in and look at your LMS, learning management system, the online learning tools, but not unless you ask us to. Office hours is this every Wednesday study session that we have throughout the program. And our price, we hadn't raised our price in probably a decade. I don't know when the last time we raised our price was. And yet it's funny, people buy our materials and then they teach their own class 3 times as much as the guy who created the materials charges. So it's in the grand scheme of things, just trust me when I say this, I know what a lot of the competitors are charging. We are really very efficient with, and very, I don't want to say it's a discount price, but we just haven't seen the need to raise our price for years. And we prepare you for both. We're one of the few programs that advertises saying, when you're done, if you want 2 certifications, you want to be what's known as dual certified. You want to hold both the PHR and the SHRM-CP. We're your program. You want to hold both the SPHR and the SHRM-SCP. We're the program you're looking for, because we're going to prepare you for any or all of them if you want them. I mean, I got them all, and you can too if you want them, but I teach programs, I write materials. So that's why I need them. Do you need more than one certification? Do you need to be dual certified? No. One certification still puts you in rarefied air. One certification will separate you from your peers, will be a tremendous line item on your resume if you're applying for jobs. So you only need one. But if you want to go for 2, hey, we're going to prepare you for dual certification. All right, so the materials that come with our program, there's a picture of the 7 prints. It's just a little booklet, like 60, 68 pages, something like that. Certainly, we've got a study guide with even the audio option of listening. If you don't like to read, then we can read the book to you. Some people, we read the book to them, and then they also are going through the book and highlighting passages and all that while the narrator is speaking. We've got digital flashcards. We've got audio files that really kind of what put us on the national map and made distinctive HR. I mean, a lot of you guys that are here today is because you've been referred to us by maybe some of your bosses or colleagues or friends in HR. So yeah, we've been around for a while. And so a lot of the young ones that we got certified years ago are now the bosses in their companies, and they're sending their young ones to us. Seven Princes certainly is a difference maker. And I can't emphasize that enough. She probably should have been number one up there at the top of the page. Learning management system, all the online tools, and in the learning management system, we've got a couple thousand practice questions, games. I mean, really cool games. But you got to answer the questions to be able to do whatever to advance in the game and to try to win the games. We've got all kinds of videos, something we call troublesome topic videos. We've got something we call a versus series, which is some of these subjects in HR that are very similar to each other, but the subtle nuanced differences between them. We've got those in a cartoon format. And then we've got the final practice exams that we mentioned. Now, how much does it cost to take our program? $1,200. So you're talking $1,199. And like I said, there's other places that, I mean, they charge $3,500 for this same class, and it's not the guy that created the materials. So up to you how you want to look at that. Now, we've got some upcoming classes. Now, one starts 2 weeks from tomorrow. Still not too late. We'd love to have you in the program. I'm going to issue a personal invitation to come and join us. But this is a daytime program, and it runs from September 8th until November 17th, every Tuesday and Thursday. This is one of our most popular programs, partly because I'm the instructor, but partly because it's only an hour and a half each day. It's an hour and a half on Tuesday, an hour and a half on Thursday. What kind of a lunchtime thing, at least here on the East Coast. I know some of you guys are West Coast, different time zones, Mountain Time, Central Time, whatever. But Eastern Time, 12 noon until 1:30. And my guarantee is that 12:30 will end. We might make it to 12:31 every now and then, but I'm not going to still be at 12:40, 12:45 still talking, unless people are just asking questions. But the class will be over with by then. So 12 noon to 1:30 is the way this runs. September 8th and November 17th, yours truly is the instructor for that program. Then if you cannot do, like your work schedule will not allow you during the day, then on Mondays, starting October 14th until December 16th, from 7 at night, or at least here on the East Coast, I guess that would be 4 p.m. on the West Coast. And some of you may be, even we get a lot of people from Hawaii in here, so you have to make the time change difference from Eastern Time. So 7 to 9 p.m. Brittany is teaching that. Brittany is right now in like week number 6 or so of a class that she's teaching currently and getting ready to wrap up pretty soon. That's the upcoming schedule. Now, if you're interested in one or the other of these, and I get it, like the daytime program, you may have to talk to your superiors to see whether they'll give you permission or not to do this. And I'll tell you this, that one of your selling points is that few weeks into the program, they're going to start looking at you going, how did you know that? And you're going to go, I learned that in my class. All kinds of good things. Now, if you want to register, and this is the information you might want to take down, you can go to our website. Our website, you can tell how old we are because this is long before SHRM came along, that we got our domain name was phrexamprep.com. Or you can email us at info at distinctivehr.com. I'm the managing partner of distinctivehumanresources.com. Or call us 919-770-7043. Again, East Coast, 9 to 4 p.m. You can register directly with us, or you can go through the employer associations, and most of the employer associations of America are with us, and we teach the programs. We represent them. Catapult, the employer association here in North Carolina, but I know some of you guys are with Employee Association in the Northeast. Some of you are with guy used to be Mountain West. Anyway, all the ones out in Denver, in that area. We've got employer associations all over the country, but you can contact Catapult, used to be Capital Associated Industries, or the Employer Association here in North Carolina. But Ashley.Donnelly at letscatapult.org. And again, .org is, or 886-440-0302. Now I'm going to come back to this slide in just a minute, but I wanted to point out before we wrap up, and see, I'm even lying because I'm running a minute beyond the time. There's a discount right now with HRCI, $100 off. Now, do I advise you to take advantage of this? Not if you're going to take our class. But if you want to get $100 off your PHR or your SPHR or your GPHR or your APHR, whichever certification you want to go for, you can get $100 off and type in the promo code NEXT STEP. It's only good for the next week. It ends next Monday at 12 midnight Eastern time. So next step is that, and that is my presentation for today. There you go. This is the presentation for today. This is where you can go and sign up if you need anything. I see some questions here. And yeah, one of the questions, Shannon's question is, so if I miss it live, I can always watch it later. If I did the Monday evening class, could I just use the recorder? Yeah. All our classes, even the office hours, the study sessions are recorded and put onto your personal learning management system. And then you have access. I mean, we get it. A lot of you travel. A lot of you have conflicts occasionally, whatever, that can't make all the classes. Okay. If so, meetings run over. If you're going to try to do the daytime program, then it's recorded. And if you want to go back and listen to it again, or something you didn't really understand, go back. All the sessions are recorded. And yeah, and so Shannon also says, if I miss one or two classes, yep, you can get all that later on. And okay. Will the class prepare me for the GPHR exam? We have had people that have taken this class and have passed the GPHR exam. But there's three major differences between domestic HR, and that's what we're really talking about here in America, and the global professional and human resources. And trust me, we do recertification credits, all kinds of recertification topics for the GPHR certification. But the GPHR is just not in as much demand as like an SPHR or a PHR from HRCI. So the GPHR, there is the difference in global compensation, how you pay people that are expatriates around the world, because you have to follow the laws of the country, the host country the expat is working in. Cultural differences between America and where your expat may be working is another major difference. So understanding international culture is a really huge issue. And then international assignment management, who to choose, how to choose, writing letters, the assignment letter, administrating everything, comp, benefits, everything while they're on international assignment. Those are three major differences from domestic HR. Almost everything else is the same, but those are three things. And we touch on international, but I'm going to tell you, Kamika, that our prep materials, our GPHR prep materials, do I know Lynn is asking, do I know the dates of our 2027 programs yet? No. In fact, we just talked about it the other day, but I hadn't put them out there. But it's going to be starting. There'll be one program in January, then another program probably starting in February, then another program starting in March, is the way we normally dole it out. one each month for the first 3 or 4 months is the way it normally works. So that's the way it works. And Kamika, you're very, very welcome on that. Lynn, did I miss anything? I'm looking to see if I missed any questions that anybody has.
There are no more unanswered questions.
Okay. I've heard from Lynn Salazar. SPHR, SHRM-SCP. And she has been with me. I have been with her. I've been her underling. She doesn't understand this chain of command thing. I've been her underling for over like 20 years now. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for listening. I did run over my time, even though I swear in classes we don't run over. But love to have you in our program. Register with us. I'm going to flip back one more time to these are the options you have for the remainder of 2026 if you want distinctive HR to help you get certified. You got the upcoming Tuesday, Thursday lunch and learn program. Take an early lunch if you're in a different time zone, and talk your boss into doing this. And we get a lot of bosses that give us feedback about how helpful we are to them, because throughout the program, you get free consulting from us also, if you want any of that. And then Mondays, October 14th to December 16th, it's when Brittany's teaching that program, and that's from 7 to 9 p.m., 2 hours each Monday evening. And at least here on the East Coast, again, depending where you are, could be late afternoon. All right, that's what we've got for you today. I'll leave this up for a second, but I think we've answered your questions, hopefully, and hope to see you in our program. And all I can tell you is, whether you choose us or not, I just want to support you. I want to encourage you, go for your certification. It's one of the best gifts you can give to yourself and your career. Whether you get certified or not, the learning, the amount of knowledge, new KSAs, knowledge, skills, and abilities that you will acquire in the prep process is beneficial to you and your career. Whether you use us or use someone else, please go for your certification. So I want to encourage you to start that journey and get certified. But I'd love to work with you for us to be partners in crime on our journey towards certification. All right, folks, we're done for today. So I could talk all day about this, but I'm not going to. We're out of here. All right, guys, thanks for being with us today. Appreciate it much. And again, good luck on your journey. And hopefully we'll see you down the road one day. Thanks.